He takes off and goes roaring by here with those four Allison turboprop engines, a big Hamilton standard propellers. You're going to get a close look at one of those a little bit later on. We're just standing here, all this immersed in all this history this weekend. You figure 100 years ago, two Daytonians brought about the dawn of powered manned aviation, manned flight. It was 41 years ago that a Cambridge native piloted America's first orbital space flight. And then 34 years ago, just 7 years later, a Wapakoneta man was the first human to set foot on the moon. So we got that much history just here in the Buckeye State. You know, we're in the right place to do the real celebration. We just watch as the Orion is going to make a big wide turn out there and be going around the patch. I want you to just take a moment here and look at the clouds that are now behind you. And you see where they are. This is a front that is stretching east to west roughly, and it is undulating. So those clouds may occasionally move overhead, and then they'll move back again, and then they'll move up again. And this is the way it's going to be at least through the first half of the day. I don't want you to think that weather's moving in, it's moving by. And if all goes well, we ought to have nothing but just great high show today from all of the, especially military teams who are here to perform. So you see that layer of clouds? The sun gets real bright, and if you see the sun ducks behind it again, you just watch that frontal system, and we're on the boundary of it right here. You watch it move up to the north and then move back to the south. So I think we're in for a good day. Tomorrow and Sunday are supposed to be drier, if that can be possible, and it is right now. It's supposed to be drier, and the temperatures are supposed to be noticeably cooler. So we are looking forward to 3 great days of aviation, and it's a great honor for me to be working here with Danny Clisham and with Rob Ryder. This is probably the first time in history we've had 3 announcers on the stage who are all members of the 2 major motion picture theatrical performers unions, AFTRA and SAG. We're all members of that because we all do radio and television and movie work. Placement Squadron takes pride in presenting today's P-3 Orion flight demonstration. From far out to the left side, the aircraft is approaching the flight line in excess of 450 miles per hour. It will be simulating delivery of a weapon on a hostile target. The P-3 Orion remains the fastest propeller-driven aircraft below 10,000 feet with a speed of 405 knots. That's 466 miles per hour. Look out to the left as they are flying with everything as hot as they can get it. And you can see the smoke trailing off behind the Allison engine. Patrol Squadron 30 is based at Naval Air Station Jacksonville, Florida, and provides a continuous flow of highly trained pilots, naval flight officers, naval air crewmen, and maintenance personnel to the operational fleet. The flight maneuvers you are seeing are examples of low-altitude tactics taught to all P-3 crew members and are used in the performance of missions by combat air crews based throughout the world. The P-3 aircraft typically carries 11 aircrew personnel, consisting of 3 pilots, 2 naval flight officers, and 6 enlisted crew members. Together, the crew is responsible for the numerous aircraft systems, including anti-surface, anti-submarine, and surveillance sensors and weapon systems. The aircraft you're watching today measures 116 feet long with a 99-foot wingspan and weighs over 139,000 pounds fully loaded. With its 4,000 nautical mile range and impressive 14-hour maximum endurance, the P-3 Orion is one of the world's most versatile aircraft. Originally developed from the Lockheed Electra airliner, the first U.S. Navy P-3 flew in April of 1961. In all, 644 Orion aircraft were delivered to the Navy from the Lockheed plant in Palmdale, California, between 1961 and 1991. Though the engine's avionics and mission equipment have been continuously modified and updated through the years, the basic airframe has remained relatively unchanged, a tribute to the Lockheed design team. The P-3 is now going to perform a landing utilizing maximum reverse from its 4 fully reversible propellers. The ability to take off and land in relatively short distances allows the P-3 to operate throughout the world, runways as short as 4,000 feet. Impressive for an aircraft of this size. The ability to reverse the propellers has the added advantage of allowing the aircraft to back up and to maneuver in mentioned the ability to back up, and you're going to watch as the crew is going to back up a couple of airplane lengths just to show you how that's done. The pilot has positioned the aircraft and reconfigured for a maximum angle of climb takeoff. With its 4 turboprop engines developing over 18,000 shaft horsepower, the pilot will take off, retract the gear, and continue climbing until the aircraft clears all simulated obstacles.
Oh, they're going to fly lower. Are they going to fly lower?
Active patrol squadrons and reconnaissance squadrons are home-based in Hawaii, Washington State, Maine, Florida, and in Spain. From these bases, P-3s routinely deploy to operational sites throughout the world, providing a rapid response to emerging crises anywhere, anytime. In addition, reserve and special project squadrons are located throughout the world. The P-3 Orion is also in service with numerous foreign air forces, including Canada, Norway, the Netherlands, Spain, Portugal, Greece, South Korea, Thailand, Pakistan, Argentina, Chile, Iran, and Australia. Several U.S. government agencies utilize the Orion, including the Customs Service, the Forestry Service, the Department of Commerce, NOAA, and NASA. That's Manfred Radius taking off now under tow in the Salto sailplane, giving you a wing wag as he climbs out. As the P-3 approaches the flight line from the left, the crew will shut down, then restart one of the 4 engines. Flight crews routinely shut down 1 or even 2 engines to increase on-station patrol endurance and mission flexibility. As the Orion approaches the flight line from the left, notice that the engine closest to you, number 4, has been shut down, and you'll see those propeller blades standing stock still. I said you'd see those Hamilton Standard propeller blades up close, and you will in just a moment. Approaches center point. Watch as the pilot gives the command to restart 4. Fuel on, turn 4. The crew is preparing to perform a simulated weapons drop. Armed with a wide variety of bombs, torpedoes, mines, air-to-surface missiles, and rockets, the P-3 is a lethal attack platform capable of delivering over 8,000 pounds of ordnance. Its extensive sensor suite includes advanced imaging radar, sensitive acoustic processors, electronic surveillance equipment, infrared and long-range optical cameras, and magnetic anomaly detector in the boom extension on the tail of the aircraft. From anti-surface warfare on the open ocean, to submarine hunting in the confines of foreign seas, to overland surveillance in the world's hotspots, to counter-narcotics operations in the Caribbean and South America, the P-3 is well equipped for any contingency. You may also be familiar with the airplane that was involved in the incident in what was determined to be Chinese airspace, at least that's what they said. That's the EP-3 Aries, which appears like this airplane with bumps all over it for all the electronic listening equipment. From your left, the aircraft is now setting up for an attack over the target. The pilot is opening the bomb bay doors for weapon deployment, coordinating with other crew members to ensure pinpoint accuracy during weapon delivery. The pilot leaves the bay doors as he rolls the aircraft to a high angle of bank for a minimum radius 360-degree turn. This maneuver quickly repositions the aircraft for a second attack on the target. Prepared to perform a variety of missions, P-3 crews are highly proficient in anti-surface warfare, search and rescue, aerial mining, long-range patrol, anti-submarine warfare, land attack, drug interdiction, electronic surveillance, and command control missions. From combat service in the Vietnam War to more recent conflicts in Kosovo, the Arabian Gulf, Afghanistan, and Iraq, the P-3 Orion is a true multi-mission platform, defending our freedom on the front lines. The diversity and durability of the P-3 Orion allows maritime patrol reconnaissance aviation to meet the threat of modern forces throughout the world. I'd like to take the time to introduce the members of the VP-30 Patrol Squadron 30 Flight Demonstration Team. The pilots for today's performance, from Seattle, Washington, Lieutenant Brian Rasmussen. From Florence, Kentucky, Lieutenant Steve Grant. From Billings, Montana, Lieutenant Frank Johnson. The flight engineers for today's performance, from Dallas, Texas, AM-1 Kiddo Green. From Duluth, Minnesota, AM-1 Rick Anderson. On behalf of the flight demonstration team of Patrol Squadron 30, the Crow's Nest, and the dedicated men and women of the P-3 community whom they represent, we hope that you've enjoyed this brief look at the P-3 Orion. And if you got any questions, I know I'll be happy to answer questions for you. And reviving a patriotic symbol from our nation's past, the U.S. Navy is ordering its fleet to fly the defiant "Don't Tread on Me" rattlesnake flag aboard all its vessels to emphasize America's determination in the war on terror. It was the original battle flag of the U.S. Navy, and VP-30 is proud to fly it next to the national ensign. You watch as they taxi back, and they will have both flags up. Ladies and gentlemen, as the P-3 Orion is